Well, good evening. As always, I'm back again, not going anywhere. You know, things aren't being done or ran right in this city. We saw this last week with our EDC meeting that we had that I killed and closed before it started because we had the wrong date on it. Or I'm sorry, not the wrong date, but the wrong address. So everything that was done in those meetings is not validated. So you're gonna have to go back and figure that legal mess. I filed charges on the Mayor Hubbard last week, and the charges have been filed on the EDC for last week's chaotic mess. It's being investigated and forwarded to the Attorney General. David Holmes had to recuse himself because he sits on that board as well. Investigated. I told you guys a year ago, I've been here over a year now, that I was gonna drop the hammer, people would be getting hit with criminal charges. I don't like to hit with lawsuits because that affects the taxpayer. That doesn't affect you guys. You guys just pull that ripcord and leave and it doesn't affect you. So criminal charges are coming. And she told me 8 months ago that they had no intentions on buying, that you guys were leasing, and that you're gonna be dumping money and swapping out and losing value on it and all this money. It's affecting the taxpayers. Piggy bank. It's not, it's gotta come from somewhere. Instead, you guys just keep raising the water rates, the frontier rates, and they're in the middle of the contract. It's not even up yet. So when are the taxpayers gonna stop being penalized so you guys can just run this like some sort of circus shit show? Bottom line is, these people have already been hit with a 20% tax increase this year, a 15% water rate increase last year. Now you guys are hitting the trash. As far as I'm concerned, you guys can eat it for the next year, and I say we go out and get other bids because you guys just got bought out. You guys are just greedy. You don't even know the acronym, so how can you sit here and tell us that you know?
Price index.
Bottom line, everything goes up, you know, so.
Right, and that's why the contract is spelled out the way it is.
But a contract is your word is your bond. You're in the South, buddy.
That's right.
Is it customary to keep White Claw in the refrigerator at work?
Can you please do something about this?
I asked the question, sir. I'm the press. And how many times does Kenny Nolan have to blow up your phone during a city council meeting? And do you usually kiss other men that are not your husband?
Tyranny, corruption, extortion. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. BZ Watchdog News Network.
All right, folks, buckle up because the Hillsboro City Council meeting on April 21st, 2026 did not disappoint. Unless you showed up expecting leadership, then yeah, you were probably real disappointed. Because guess what? Roll call looked more like a missing persons report. Mayor Scott Johnson, MIA. Council member Larry Lloyd, MIA. EDC Director Jessica True, also MIA. At this point, I'm not sure if it was a council meeting or a game of Where's Waldo, City Hall Edition. Meanwhile, front and center as always, City Manager Megan Henderson, still out here acting like her full-time job is running the Economic Development Corporation instead of, the actual city. Because while your water lines are aging, roads are falling apart, infrastructure is begging for attention, she's out here playing Monopoly with taxpayer money, making questionable real estate deals and handing out incentives like it's a Black Friday clearance sale. Water rates up over 35% in 2 years. Trash rates trying to go up. Services questionable at best. But don't worry, kids, there's more. Because somehow there's always money when it comes to EDC pet projects. And let's talk about Frontier Waste trying to shake down the city mid-contract for more money. Like the citizens of Hillsboro are just an ATM that never runs out. Spoiler alert, they do. At this point, you gotta ask, who's actually running the city? Because it sure doesn't look like it's the person with the title. Somebody is pulling the strings behind the scenes. And Megan Henderson? She's just the one standing at the front of the ship while it's heading straight for the iceberg. And when it goes down, make no mistake, she's going down with it. The real question is, how much more damage gets done before the council wakes up and realizes maybe, just maybe, It's time to find someone who actually knows how to manage a city instead of just spending its money. But before we get into this absolute circus of a meeting, smash that like button, drop a comment, and share this everywhere because sunlight is the best disinfectant, and Hillsboro's got a whole lot of cleaning to do.
Okay, next we have April and Guard.
Alrighty then. Let me know whenever you're ready, Megan.
I'll start when you start talking.
Okay. I'll do this. Just be better that way. There we go, that works. Alright guys, well, I guess 5 out of 7 is not bad tonight. We almost didn't have a quorum, huh? Just 1 or 2 more of you guys gone. Well, good evening. As always, I'm back again, not going anywhere. And there's a couple things on this agenda we're going to get to, but you know, things aren't being done or ran right in this city. We saw this last week with our EDC meeting that we had that I killed and closed before it started because we had the wrong date on it. Or I'm sorry, not the wrong date, but the wrong address. I also saw that it's happened 7+ times just between January and in December. So everything that was done in those meetings is not validated. So you're gonna have to go back and figure that legal mess out. I don't know if any of you guys have been watching my stuff on Facebook. I filed charges on the Mayor Hubbard last week, and the charges have been filed on the EDC for last week's chaotic mess. It's being investigated and forwarded to the Attorney General. David Holmes had to recuse himself because he sits on that board as well. Not as a voting party, but he does partake, and therefore he's a witness, and therefore he cannot prosecute. So it will be investigated. I told you guys a year ago, I've been here over a year now, that I was gonna drop the hammer, people would be getting hit with criminal charges. I don't like to hit with lawsuits because that affects the taxpayer. That doesn't affect you guys. You guys just pull that ripcord and leave and it doesn't affect you. So criminal charges are coming, and that's on you guys. I've been asking you guys for a year to do this and to fix the things that, you know, between these guys. I've tried to work with them. You guys told me not to. How much time I got left? Okay. So I told you, it's coming. And with all these other things that are up here, like the Texas Theater that she told me 8 months ago that they had no intentions on buying, that you guys were leasing, and that you're gonna be dumping money and swapping out and losing value on it and all this money. It's affecting the taxpayers. It's not a bottomless piggy bank. The money's gotta come from somewhere. Instead, you guys just keep raising the water rates, the frontier rates, and they're in the middle of the contract. It's not even up yet. So when are the taxpayers gonna stop being penalized so you guys can just run this like some sort of circus shit show? I mean, seriously, these people should be actually doing a petition to have you guys recalled. Every single one of you. How much time we got? Okay, so with that being said, the EDC, I'm gonna be making sure monitoring that. I'm gonna kill every single data center deal using legal and the law. So just be advised, I'm gonna start being at every single meeting now. You guys wanted this? You got it. I'll just go to relinquish whatever I got.
Okay, now we'll go to agenda item 7. Megan?
Mayor and council, we went out for bids for replacing the roof on the Texas Theater, anticipating that could cost over $100,000. When work costs over $100,000, there are specific steps that we have to follow. Fortunately, the bids came back and were comfortably under that number. So staff would actually recommend the council take no action tonight because we can get a couple more bids, we think. We got 3 and we feel pretty good about the bids that we got, but we know we can get probably at least a couple more if we wait 2 weeks and bring it back to next council meeting, and on the off chance that we can save a little bit more money, we think it's worth doing.
Okay. Council members have any questions? Okay, then I'll read the statement of that. Okay, agenda in Gate Precast Company, Chapter 380 Economic Development Program.
And Mayor Pro Tem and Council, EDC Director Jessica Churro is out of town at the moment. This resolution is to amend the contract to reflect the updated name of the company, which was bought by Wells, and so this just updates the contract with the current name of the company.
Do you have any questions about that? Any members of the public have any questions about that? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Councilmember Fleming.
Aye.
Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Aye.
Councilmember Richmond.
Aye.
Councilmember Jones.
Aye.
Okay, agenda item 9, deliberate and act on the resolution accepting the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Okay, approving. Now we'll move on to agenda item 10, deliberate and act on a request for rate increase by Frontier Waste Solutions.
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council, thank you. Good evening. My name is Mike Wilson, Frontier. First of all, we really appreciate the business being in the community and serving ourselves these days. What we are asking for tonight is for Section 18 of the contract we signed last year for a CPI increase for the year. We had a couple of issues last year. We took over the bid. After the bid was settled, in December, we received a 39% increase in the landfill. And so we're asking consideration because we were actually, for the roll-off customers in town, we're actually paying $2 a ton for the waste to take to the landfill. Landfill rates went from $38 to $50. And for the last year, we've absorbed that. We did not come to the city and ask for an increase, but as per the Section 18, this year we are asking in the CPI increase that we are able to increase the landfill rates on roll-off alone. And we are asking for a 5%, which is the CPIU this year of trash and water. Percentage increase on roll-off hauling, that would be the roll-off hauls. And in agreement with the city, we've asked for a 15% increase on the commercial dumpster rates. Residential trash and recycling remained the same. The citizens would not see an increase this year. It would only be on the commercial dumpsters.
Okay, council members, do you have any questions, concerns, or need any further explanation? Can you explain to us what the CPI rate, what that encompasses?
The CPI is the CPIU is I'm sorry, I forgot the acronym already on the spot. But it's a federally derived number from the federal government, Consumer Price Index. And so you look up BLS.gov, and what it does is it's a federally derived number based on price increase year over year for basic products. Fuel is not part of the main core of that. So for example, it may take milk and say, hey, milk went up 4% last year. Transportation and fuel may have played into that 4%, but it doesn't actually figure anything on fuel. We are not asking for anything on fuel at this time. But what I am saying is that the CPIU year over year is measured by the government, and in this particular year, based on trash and water, which is spelled out in our contract as to what the CPI would be based on, is 5%. And that's what we're basing the hauling rates just for the roll-on hauls. And then the commercial is somewhat elevated, but in negotiations with the city, in order to ease the burden for the citizens, and in the fact that the commercial rates were actually less year over year when the city bidded out the solid waste, the commercial customers who did get a rate reduction knowledge, and so they felt that that would be a better area to shoulder that burden.
So did they, was there a commercial rate increase for residents?
When we went out for bids, the rates that came back, were significantly lower, both for residential and commercial customers. The commercial rates were significantly lower. In comparing the proposed commercial rates, they are still lower than the rates that were proposed, with the difference of the hauling rate. So if we hadn't switched customers, there would still be savings. Or if we hadn't switched contractors, there would still be savings.
So in other words,
I'm not sure if that answers your question.
hearing no other questions, entertaining them. Is there any members of the public that would like to talk to that?
I actually do, Pro Tem. You know, you guys signed a contract. It's not the public's fault that you guys bid the city low and got the contract. Just like any business owner, in fact, almost everybody up here is a business owner. If they sign a contract and they end up screwing up and giving a low bid and signing the contract, they've got to eat that cost. They just can't come back to the person that signed the contract and say, hey, you got to give us more money. Bottom line is, these people have already been hit with a 20% tax increase this year, a 15% water rate increase last year. Now you guys are hitting the trash. As far as I'm concerned, you guys can eat it for the next year, and I say we go out and get other bids, because you guys just got bought out. You guys are just greedy. Fulfill your contract, move on, and we should go ahead and get another contract, because you guys, just like your company, are a waste of money.
Well, I appreciate your opinion there, sir, but I do need to clarify. One, when we rebid the city, we saved the city money on both residential, commercial, and rural hauling. Two, we have a contract that says we have the right to come and ask the city yearly. That was the contract that you guys negotiated with our staff and said, hey, yearly, we're going to give you the lowest possible price, but every year there's going to be a small increase. And that increase is going to be regulated by the CPI due by the federal government. Very typical in city contracts.
You don't even know the acronym.
What's that?
You don't even know the acronym. So how can you sit here and tell us that you know?
Consumer price index.
Bottom line, everything goes up, you know, so.
Right, and that's why the contract is spelled out the way it is.
But a contract is your word. Your word is your bond. You're in the South, bud.
That's right, and we did not ask the city, we absorbed all those costs last year.
That was last year. You got to eat it this year. You got a contract.
And that's what Section 18 is for.
And you shouldn't have signed a 2-year contract.
Ma'am?
Hi there. With only the commercial going out and not the residential, is that going to put undue harm on our commercial businesses that are already having pinch pennies? Would it be better if we raise rates across the board so that there's equality in our commercial and our residential, taking the brunt of the current cost? Thank you.
I understand that, and like I said, the commercial rates were lowered in the first year of this contract substantially, and the city, as we negotiated and talked about this, felt that the commercial was more likely to shoulder the burden of this increase.
Any other comment? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move we approve.
Hearing no second, table it or? Yes.
The council has several choices. One of them would be to approve something else, so some other number. One of them would be to direct staff to get back together with the company and come up with another recommendation. One of them would be to deny any increase beyond what is specifically spelled out in the contract. We've got several choices.
They don't have an opinion.
is go back together with the company and, look at the numbers again and come back with something that you feel more comfortable with.
Is that okay with that?
Yeah.
Then we direct it to.
Okay. They want to hear no more and go from there.
All right, this action is tabled.
It takes a vote to table and then another vote to untable. If you want to just take no action and direct staff to
Okay.
do work for your
We'll
company.
take no action then. Allow staff to work and come back to us. Thank you. Okay, hear and deliberate on the city manager.
Let's see. Talk to you. Do we know is it bad?
Good job.
Okay, Jasmine, you can put it on. I'll take you first. Okay, while she's doing that, the city has 8 strategic goals in its strategic plan. At the first council meeting of the month, I go through the first 4 goals. On the second council meeting of the month, I go through the last 4 goals. So those are the goals 5 through 8. All right, strategic goal number 5 is to build better infrastructure. So we have major projects, those are grant and debt funded. We've had something like $14 million in the last 7 years, mostly debt funded. What that means is that our capacity for new big debt funded projects is pretty limited. On a minor project, pay-as-you-go funded, we have done some water line replacements and are continuing to do some, and we're doing some engineering for future opportunities. Now, we have some upcoming grant opportunities that are fantastic opportunities because they're 100% grant funding and don't require a local match. We've applied for funding from Congressman Elsie's office, and we will be applying for funding this summer from Texas Water Development Board. Strategic goal number 6 is to deliver essential services, water, wastewater, drainage, all of that. So on water, we're continuing discussions regarding our utility fiscal health. You know, that's a big issue. On wastewater treatment, we're reviewing recommendations from the wastewater study that we've done. On drainage, you know, which is germane kind of to the flood conversation. Our drainage master plan has been approved for funding by Texas Water Development Board, so we expect to hear in the next month or 2 that study is moving forward. Street maintenance, city-led projects, as I said before, big projects are going to have to come from outside dollars. City-led projects are going to be smaller in scale, and we're planning the summer's projects right now. Parks, we've had latest round of restroom repairs completed at Wallace Park, and are continuing to work on the facilities master plan. Goal number 7 is to boost economic development. The EDC is still pursuing various prospects. The city has a contract with Retail Coach, so they help us find new retail and restaurant businesses. They're continuing to do that work. Main Street continues to support downtown development, and the redevelopment continues at the mall. As you know, there are 4 businesses that are under construction right now on those pad sites. Council reviewed earlier tonight a space that would be in partnership with Hillsboro Arts League, so that's all exciting. And then goal number 7 is to enhance our quality of life. Had a ribbon cutting at the library for a grant-funded door project. Those beautiful doors on the library are going to be done. There's regular programming continuing at the library, lots of different clubs and activities that happen every week. Parks and Recreation, we have baseball, softball underway, and one of the tennis courts at the city park has been converted for pickleball, so go pickleball. Staff activities and events, in new hires in public safety. We had some more interviews this week. And then we've got Churro Fest is our next big downtown event. That is coming up May 16th. So I would take any questions from council.
This meeting is adjourned.
Hey Megan, how much is that churro cost gonna cost? Churro Fest, how much is that gonna cost?
Recusal, I've got to go on. I've got to be somewhere. I don't have a budget for Churro Fest, but if you'd like to send me an email, I can find out from Main Street.
Okay.
I will add though, Churro Fest is a sponsored event, so those costs come primarily from event sponsors and revenues from the event.
Just need the details. I just don't have the number up there.
Sure.
Way to cost some having. You ever see Weeble wobble and they don't fall down? That's what I'm looking at right now through the lens. Yeah, that's usually when you hang out at the office and drink too many White Claws. I know. I looked in the fridge. I got it on video. Some people didn't get on the job. Not Clay Sparks. That'd be nice. I just want to know about them White Claws and. Oh, she's 2 sheets to the wind, man. What's that? I mean, she's not a danger to herself or anybody, so I mean, but if she gets in that car and drive, I would expect you to do it. Of course not. Y'all are corrupt over here at Hillsboro. Selective enforcement. Get your breathalyzer. You know, we'll put this to the test right now. Put a breathalyzer. No, I'm filing a witness complaint. It's in your. I observe it. Do I need to play it back? We were wobbling. Glassy eyes. Get close enough, talk to her, smell the alcohol on her breath. I smell it from here. You smell it? No. Maybe that was you. No, I'm just kidding. Is it customary to keep White Claw in the refrigerator at work?
Can you please do something about this?
I asked the question, sir. I'm the press. And how many times does Kenny Nolan have to blow up your phone during a city council meeting? And do you usually kiss other men that are not your husband?
Tyranny, corruption, extortion. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. BZ Watchdog News Network. BZ Watchdog.